Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Now, in this video I'm just going to be talking. So if you don't want to listen to me talking, then turn off now. Just giving those guys time to clear off. Now, if you're still here, thank you and welcome. Now, you've probably clicked on this video because you're thinking about sim racing, or you've just started sim racing and you're thinking about what your upgrade path might look like or what to buy next. Well, I made a video recently where I totaled up the amount of money that I'd spent on sim racing hardware in the last 6 years, and in total I'd spent £28,420. And the aim of this video is to stop you making the same mistakes that I did and wasting literally thousands. So my first piece of advice is to those guys that haven't yet started sim racing that are thinking about it: spend the least amount of money you can at the beginning. Buy a used steering wheel, a used G29, a used T300, whatever. Buy that first of all. See if you like sim racing. A lot of people buy all of the equipment when they first get into sim racing, spend literally thousands, and then after a couple of months the novelty's worn off and then they've got to move it all on again. And of course, if you're selling something used, well, you're going to lose some money. Even if you've got to buy a brand new Logitech G29, £300, yeah, it's £300, a lot of money, but there's always a used market for the likes of a G29. There's always people wanting to start sim racing, so you're not going to lose that much. Then do it for a while, see if it's for you, and then if it is, then you can start thinking about your upgrade path. So that's tip number one. Now, tip number two is the first upgrade, in my opinion, should be your pedals. That's where your lap times are going to come from. That's where your driving is going to get better. You can trail brake better. You can get on the gas better. So my first upgrade would be pedals. And I would advise buying the best pedals that you can afford at that time. Because if you don't, then there's a good chance you're going to want to upgrade them again later. So my recommendation for pedals: if you are on a tighter budget, then I can't see a better pedal set for the money than the Fanatec CSL Elite Load Cell V2. I had the version 1 of those pedals and thought they were brilliant. I really don't think you can get a better pedal set for the money. So it's about £300, and that's a 3-pedal set: clutch, brake and accelerator. If your pockets are a bit deeper, then I would recommend the Acertec Forte pedals. Now, they are about £400, so they're about £100 more, but you only get 2 pedals. You only get the accelerator and the brake. You don't get a clutch. You can buy that separately, but it costs about another 250 quid, which makes a 3-pedal set twice the price of the Fanatec, but they are much better. Another great pedal set in that price range is the Heusinkveld Sprints. They come in at around £550, but again, that's just a 2-pedal set. More expensive than the Fortes, but they do have more adjustability, which is reflected in the price. Now, if your pockets are deeper again, then I've got 2 pedal sets which I would recommend. They are the Heusinkveld Ultimate Plus, but they'll set you back about £1,000, and that's only for a 2-pedal set. Can get a clutch, and I think for a 3-pedal set, I think it costs about 1,200 quid. Or the Acertec Invicta. Now, the Acertec Invicta are hydraulic pedals, and for a 2-pedal set, I think they cost about 750. But again, you can buy the clutch separately. So for about £1,000, you'll get a 3-pedal set of the Acertec Invictas. So I have both the Heusinkveld Ultimates and the Acertec Invictas, and I can't really decide which one of those I like the most. I like the adjustability of the Heusinkveld Ultimates, but I like the rigidity and the feel of the Acertec Invictas. So that's pedals. Entry level, or not entry level, they're still expensive. The Fanatec CSL Elite V2. If you want to spend a little bit more, the Acertec Forte or the Heusinkveld Sprints, both really good pedals, kind of mid-price point. But if you want to go high end, then the Heusinkveld Ultimate Plus or the Acertec Invicta. So I would buy the best pedals that you can afford. If you don't, then there's a good chance you're going to want to upgrade later down the line, and obviously that means again you're going to lose some money on the pedals that you've got. So this video is all about streamlining, trying to save you as much money as I can in the long run. I had the Fanatec CSL Elite load cell pedals, and although they are great bang for buck, at the time I was about 1,500 iRacing. I upgraded to the Huizenveld Ultimates and my iRacing went over 4,000. That's the dramatic difference a really good pedal set can have. So we've talked about the brake upgrade, but that comes at an additional cost. Because we've upgraded the pedal set, the brake that you have now is going to be much, much stronger than what you're used to on a Logitech entry-level pedal setup, for example. And the forces that you need to push on a high-end pedal set, they can be up to 200 kilos. So you've got to really push the pedal. If you don't have them mounted to a rig, well, the pedal set's going to move, it's going to tip. So you can't just put them on the carpet underneath your table. You're going to need some kind of rig. Now, my advice would be to buy an aluminium profile rig. My first rig was one from GT Omega. It was a steel rig, and I couldn't customize it in any way. If you buy an aluminium profile rig, then you probably won't change that whilst you're sim racing, unless you're me and you just buy them for the sake of it. So it doesn't have to be the best aluminium profile rig out there. Any aluminium profile rig will be a good enough platform for a pedal set and a direct drive wheelbase if you decided to upgrade that in the future. So I use the SimLab P1X, which is an absolutely brilliant sim racing cockpit. Aluminium profile, really sturdy, but you don't need it to be that sturdy. You can buy cheaper ones, which will do just fine. SimLab do cheaper cockpits, and somewhere like Race Anywhere, they do the PSR 3, I think it is. They're a lot more affordable than P1X, which I'm sitting in right now. If you don't go for an aluminium profile rig and you're still sim racing in 2 years, then I guarantee that's going to be one of your purchases, an aluminium profile rig. They are just so flexible, and the customization, things you can add to it, you can just make them suit you. So my advice, buy an aluminium profile cockpit. So the next thing that I would upgrade after the pedals and rig would be the display. I would either get triple screens or virtual reality. If you're thinking of going down the triple screen route, well, I think 1080 is perfectly fine for sim racing. The panels are cheaper and it's going to stress your system out much less. You're going to get much more frames per second. Yes, it's not going to look as nice as 4K, but I don't think 4K is necessary for sim racing. 1080 is just fine. 1440 if you can. I have 27-inch screens on my rig, which is perfect for me for my triple screen setup. Although a lot of people go for triple 32s, which is fine. Any more than that, then you're going to need much more floor space, and obviously things get more expensive. Just make sure that they've got a low response time. Refresh rate minimum of 144 Hz is what I would go for. 1080, 1440, 27-inch or 32, whatever your budget allows. Now, if you buy triple 1080s and then later down the line you do what I did and you upgrade, well, people are always going to want to buy triple screens for sim racing. There's always going to be a market. There's always going to be somebody upgrading from a single screen. So you will be able to move them on, although you will lose a bit of money. So if you can, buy 1440. That's my advice. Buy 1440. They do look better, although I think 1080 is perfectly acceptable. VR, well, if you think you might want to go down the VR route, you can buy a used Oculus Rift S for about 150, 200 pounds just to see if VR's for you. A lot of people get motion sickness with virtual reality. I've had a few Oculus Rift S. I bought the HP Reverb. I bought that and sold it because it wasn't what I expected it to be. And now I've gone back to an Oculus Rift S, which is perfectly fine, in my opinion, for sim racing. And again, there's always the used market where you can move it on if it's not for you. So we've got the pedals sorted, we've got the rig, we've got the displays, but we've still got the old G29 or Thrustmaster T300 wheelbase. That's the next thing to upgrade. Now, it's all about how deep your pockets are really at this point, because at this point, you're well down the rabbit hole now of sim racing. You've bought all this gear, you're upgrading, you want to upgrade your wheelbase. Well, I wouldn't consider buying another gear or belt driven wheel at this point, I would jump straight into the direct drive wheel market. And the Fanatec CSL DD wheelbase is brilliant. That comes in two variants though, be careful. There is the 5 Newton meter direct drive wheelbase, which is a lot cheaper than the 8 Newton meter wheelbase. It's the same wheelbase, the only difference is the power supply. You upgrade the power supply, you buy a power supply from Fanatec, and that upgrades your 5 Newton meter CSL DD to an 8 Newton meter CSL DD. But then if you've bought Fanatec, well, you've got to buy a Fanatec wheel. So before you know it, you could be up to 600, 700 euros on a wheel and wheelbase from Fanatec. And they're not the strongest. 8 Newton meters, it's enough. It's enough. It's a lot more than what you'll be used to, and all the details there from the direct drive unit, but it might leave you wanting a little bit more down the line. But the good thing is though, the used market for CSL DDs is really strong. There's often stock shortages at Fanatec, so people are crying out for used CSL DDs, so you'll be able to shift that on without any problems. I've got the CSL DD and the CSL DD Pro, both brilliant. Tried them on iRacing, ACC, Gran Turismo 7. Brilliant little wheelbases. Not very strong, but all the details there. There's the likes of the Moser R9 or the Simagic wheelbases, the lower torque wheelbases. I would rather have the Fanatec than any one of those, to be honest. So if your pockets are a bit deeper, well, there's the likes of the VRS Direct Force Pro wheelbase, which is around about £900. Or there's the SimiCube 2 Sport, which is about 900. Then there's the SimiCube 2 Pro, which is about 1,050-ish. I've got both the SimiCube 2 Sport and the SimiCube 2 Pro. And to be honest, if you blindfolded me and put me in the rig with any one of those wheelbases, then I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But of course, when you get to the likes of the SimiCubes, the VRS, they do need to be mounted to a sturdy rig. That's when your aluminium profile rig that you bought initially pays dividends. But of course, then you've got to buy a wheel rim. But because you've gone with a SimiCube or a VRS, well, you've got then the flexibility of a wheel rim like this, which is USB powered, and you can pick up a used wheel rim, not this one, but you can pick up a used wheel rim for £300, £400, and again, there's always a resale market. You can always move it on if you did want to upgrade. The wheel rim isn't that important, really. It's the wheelbase that's going to make the big difference. But obviously, make sure you've got one that has enough buttons on it, etc., so you don't have to go then spending money on button boxes. But by now, you are well and truly down the sim racing wormhole, and it doesn't matter how much your wheel rim is. If it looks pretty, then you're probably going to buy it at this point. But the most important thing is, buy once if you can. Don't buy something if you think down the line you might want to upgrade it. Just wait. Wait until you've got the money. Wait until you can afford it. If you think that you're going to upgrade the CSL Elite V2 pedals, don't buy them. Wait till you can afford a set of hoisting valves or Acertec Sim Sports pedals. Don't make the same mistake I did and waste literally thousands. So that would be my advice. Pedals, number 1. Rig, number 2. Screens, number 3. Wheelbase, number 4. So if I'd have bought what I'm sitting in now, pedals, wheelbase, rig, screens, probably would have cost me about £5,000. Now that's a lot of money, £5,000, but it's a lot less than 28,420. Learn from this idiot's mistakes. So I'll leave links down below in the description to the products I've mentioned. I've tested lots and lots of products: pedals, Venom, 3D Wrap, DC Sim Racing, Moser. I've tried different wheelbases: Fanatec DD1, VRS, Moser, AccuForce, SimiCube. I've tried lots. These are my favourites. These are what I would recommend to you. As always, thanks for watching. See you later. Cheers.